Excitement is the silent structural failure of your financial foundation. If your investing strategy feels like a thrill ride, you are not building a legacy. You are drafting your own bankruptcy. King Solomon, the wealthiest architect in history, laid down a blueprint that looks dull to the fool, but builds empires for the wise. By the end of this recording, you will possess the boring rule that separates true dynasty builders from temporary lottery winners. Stay with me, because a prayer for your financial endurance awaits at the very end. You must understand the physics of wealth. A skyscraper cannot sway with every gust of wind, or it will snap. Yet, most of you are building your financial houses on the shifting sands of adrenaline. You check your phone. You see a green line shooting up. Your heart races. You feel like a genius. But that feeling is not intuition. It is a chemical trap. The market is designed to entertain you, but entertainment costs money. The casino does not pay the player who enjoys the lights. It pays the owner who calculates the odds. Solomon identified this architectural flaw 3,000 years ago. He did not speak of crypto or stocks, but he spoke of the soil, which is the ultimate asset. Listen to the load-bearing truth found in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 11. He writes, "He who works his land will have abundant food, but he who chases fantasies lacks judgment." Notice the contrast. Working the land is monotonous. It is slow. It is repetitive. You plant, you water, you wait. You see nothing for weeks. It is boring, but it produces abundance. Now look at the alternative. Chasing fantasies. The Hebrew text here suggests pursuing empty things or vain things. These are ventures that look shiny, promise quick returns, and require no sweat, only luck. Why do we despise the boring work? Because the human mind craves complexity. We believe that if a solution is simple, it cannot possibly be worth millions. We think we need a complex algorithm, a secret insider tip, or a revolutionary new technology to get rich. We are addicted to the noise. But noise is not signal. Noise is distraction. When you are bored with your investment, it usually means it is working. It means the roots are going down deep into the dark earth where you cannot see them. The architect knows that the most important part of the building is the part that is buried underground. If you dig up a seed every day to see if it is growing, you kill it. Yet that is exactly what you do when you check your portfolio 5 times a day. You are digging up your capital, exposing it to the light of your anxiety, and wondering why it wilts. Stop looking for the next big thing. Start looking for the sure thing. The sure thing is almost always unexciting. It is stone, not vapor. It is wood, not wind. Before we inspect the materials Solomon used to build his fortune, I need to know who is standing with me on this foundation today. I want you to pause, take a breath, and simply write in the comments exactly where you are watching from. Let us see the global scale of this community of builders. Solomon was not a speculator. He was a collector of tangible, heavy, boring realities. When you read the inventory of his wealth in 1 Kings, you do not find derivatives or promises of future value. You find gold. You find cedar timber from Lebanon. You find spices. You find horses. You find copper. These are materials you can touch. They have weight. They are difficult to move. They are immune to the hype cycle because they are essential to the structure of civilization. In the 20th century, a man named Benjamin Graham dusted off this ancient blueprint. He is often called the father of value investing, but he was really just a student of Solomon's principles. Graham introduced the world to a character he called Mr. Market. Picture Mr. Market as a manic-depressive business partner. Every day, he knocks on your door and offers to buy your share of the business or sell you his. Some days, he is euphoric. and names a ridiculously high price. Other days, he is terrified and offers to sell for pennies. The fool lets Mr. Market dictate the value of his house. The wise builder knows the value of the bricks and ignores the shouting man at the door. This is the boring rule in action. If you own a farm, you do not ask the neighbor every morning, "How much is my farm worth today?" You simply check the crops. You check the harvest. You focus on the yield, not the price tag. Warren Buffett, perhaps the most famous disciple of this philosophy, calls this the art of doing nothing. It sounds lazy, doesn't it? Our culture screams that you must hustle. You must grind. You must trade. But in the world of compounding, activity is the enemy. Every time you trade, you interrupt the process. You trigger taxes. You trigger fees. You trigger mistakes. Consider the dopamine hit. When you buy a volatile asset, your brain floods with the same chemical released during gambling. You are not investing. You are betting. Solomon warned against the haste that comes from this emotional state. Wealth that comes from excitement usually leaves in tragedy. The dopamine wears off, but the losses remain. You must divorce your desire for entertainment from your desire for wealth. If you want to have fun, go to the movies. If you want to build a fortune, be prepared to be bored. Be prepared to sit on your hands for a decade. This is not sexy. It will not make you famous at a dinner party, but it will make you free. If this wisdom is cracking the foundation of your bad habits, I invite you to click the like button now. It signals to the algorithm that we prefer wisdom over hype. Let us deepen the cut. The speed at which you desire wealth is the speed at which it will likely escape you. There is a phrase that circulates among the wise: get rich slow. It is the only speed that lasts. The architect knows that concrete takes 28 days to reach its full structural strength. You cannot rush the chemistry. If you load the floor before the concrete cures, the floor collapses. Charlie Munger, the brilliant partner of Warren Buffett, operated with a mental model he called the circle of competence. This is pure Solomonic wisdom. Solomon traded in what he understood. He understood trade routes. He understood diplomacy. He understood resource management. He did not gamble on foreign ventures he could not control or comprehend. Munger taught that you do not need to be an expert on everything. You just need to know the boundaries of what you know. Here is the trap. The boring businesses are usually the ones inside your circle. They are businesses that sell things people need, not things people want. Needs are boring. Water is boring. Insurance is boring. Waste management is boring. But when the economy crashes, people still flush toilets. They still drink water. They still need to protect their homes. The exciting businesses, the luxury brands, the newest tech gadgets, the trendy vacation spots, these are the first to crumble when the storm comes. Solomon's fleets brought in gold, yes, but they also brought in basic commodities. He understood that needs outperform wants over the long arc of history. You are likely ignoring the opportunities right in front of you because they look too much like work and not enough like magic. You are looking for a lottery ticket disguised as a stock symbol. Stop trying to be clever. The market punishes the clever and rewards the disciplined. The clever man tries to time the top. The clever man tries to predict the election. The clever man thinks he knows more than the collective wisdom of the world. The disciplined man simply buys a piece of a good, boring business and goes to sleep. He wakes up 10 years later and finds he is rich. Why? Because he let time do the heavy lifting. He did not interrupt the compounding. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." Diligence is just a fancy word for boring, consistent effort. Haste is the excitement of the shortcut. You have a choice today. You can be the hare, running in circles, exhausted and anxious, or you can be the tortoise, slow, armored, and inevitable. We live in the age of the new thing: artificial intelligence, virtual reality, space travel. These are marvelous, but as investment vehicles for the average family, they are often incinerators of capital. Solomon walked out onto his balcony in Jerusalem, looked at the bustling city, and sighed the words found in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. The technology changes. The microchips get smaller. The rockets get faster. But human nature? It remains exactly the same. The greed that drove men to lose their fortunes in the tulip mania of the 17th century is the same greed that drives men to lose their life savings in meme coins today. The vehicle changes, but the cliff is the same. You must understand the law of compounding. Albert Einstein is often credited with calling it the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he said it or not, the math holds true. But here is the catch. Compounding requires an enormous amount of time to become explosive. It is like a snowball rolling down a very long hill. At the top of the hill, the snowball is small. It rolls for a long time and seems to gain no size. This is the boring zone. Most people quit here. They stop the snowball, break it apart, and try to build a new one on a different hill. But if you leave it alone, if you let it roll through the boring years, it eventually reaches a critical mass where it begins to consume everything in its path. It becomes an avalanche. You cannot have the avalanche without the years of the tiny snowball. You are confusing gambling with investing. Gambling is an event. It happens in a moment. Investing is a process. It happens over a lifetime. Sir John Templeton, another giant of the faith and finance, observed that the most dangerous words in investing are, "This time is different." It is never different. The valuation always matters. The cash flow always matters. The debt always matters. When you see a crowd running toward a new excitement, screaming that the old rules no longer apply, you should run the other direction. The crowd is running toward a cliff. The boring path is empty, quiet, and leads uphill. It is harder to walk, but the view from the top is permanent. We conclude with the testimony of a modern saint of simplicity, John Bogle. He founded Vanguard on a principle so boring it revolutionized the world: buy everything and hold it forever. He called it the majesty of simplicity. He did not try to pick the winning needle in the haystack. He just bought the haystack. He was ridiculed. He was called Bogle's folly. But while the exciting fund managers burned out and lost billions, Bogle's boring strategy built trillions of dollars of wealth for ordinary families. Solomon's final decree on this matter is a call to return to the dignity of steady labor. Wealth is not a magic trick. It is stored energy. It represents value you have provided to the world, saved and stewarded over time. If you cannot explain your investment to a 12-year-old child in 2 sentences, you do not own an asset. You own a gamble. The boring rule is your shield. It protects you from the predators who sell excitement. It protects you from your own greed. It protects your family from the instability of a provider who is addicted to risk. Embrace the boredom. Love the plateau. That is where the foundation cures. That is where the legacy hardens into stone that the winds of recession cannot move. If you are ready to stop chasing the wind and start laying bricks, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. We do not sell hype here. We distribute blueprints. Now, I ask you to disconnect from the noise of the world for a moment. Close your eyes if you can, or align your thoughts with mine now. Let us seal this wisdom in the mortar of prayer. God, the great architect of all things, you laid the foundations of the earth, and they do not move. You established the seasons, and they do not fail. Forgive us for our addiction to haste. Forgive us for treating the stewardship of resources like a game of chance. We ask for the spirit of sound judgment. Give us the courage to be boring in a world that demands entertainment. Give us the patience to plant trees under whose shade we will never sit. Bind our hands when we are tempted to act out of fear or greed. Grant us the steady, quiet rhythm of the sower, that we may one day reap the harvest of the faithful. In the name of the one who